Welcome back for the final part of our deep dive into Gandhi.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see how much we've already uncovered. His formative years, his personal experiments with truth and simple living,
Right.
and now we're at the grand finale.
Okay.
We get to see those ideas go global.
It's really exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
Um,
His journey wasn't just confined to India, right? His ideas about truth and nonviolence,
right.
they resonated with people fighting for their rights
Mhm.
all over the world.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to unpack today.
Okay.
Some incredible moments,
Yeah.
like the Salt March.
Yeah.
And we'll see how his philosophy influenced leaders and movements
Right.
around the world.
All over the place.
Yeah. But we won't stop there.
Oh, no.
We're also going to explore how Gandhi's teachings are still relevant today,
Yes.
whether it's in leadership justice or even your own personal growth.
It's a really powerful story.
It is.
How personal transformation can lead to social change.
Exactly.
He really lived what he preached.
Yeah, let's dive right in. So to understand Gandhi's global impact, we need to start with his role in India's independence.
Okay.
But before we get to those big moments,
Yeah.
it's helpful to understand his early activism
Right.
and kind of how he got there.
Because even before he became the Mahatma,
Yeah.
Gandhi was honing his approach to leadership and activism.
Mm-hmm.
His early work as a lawyer in South Africa, where
Yeah.
he faced discrimination as an Indian,
Mm.
really laid the groundwork for his later movements.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I remember from our previous deep dives, he was called the coolie barrister.
Oh, yeah.
Not exactly a flattering term,
Not really.
but he actually used that. And his legal skills to fight for the rights of Indians
Yeah.
living under those oppressive laws.
Absolutely. He wasn't just fighting individual cases, though.
Well-
He was building a movement. He
Mhm.
founded the Natal Indian Congress,
Right.
which was all about collective action
Mm-hmm.
and meticulous record keeping. He knew that documenting every instance of injustice
Yeah.
was crucial
I could see that.
for exposing the systemic oppression that Indians faced.
So for the very beginning,
Yeah.
it was about combining action with documented truths.
Absolutely.
That's fascinating.
And when he returned to India,
Yeah.
those strategies became even more important.
I can see how those experiences in South Africa
Yeah.
really would have shaped him.
Mm.
What were some of the key events, though,
Okay.
that solidified his leadership style
Well, there were several turning points.
in India?
Yeah, one that comes to mind is his response to the plague in Durban.
Oh, wow.
Gandhi didn't just talk about service.
Yeah.
He rolled up his sleeves
Mhm.
and nursed the sick,
Wow.
putting himself on the front lines.
Oh.
It showed his deep commitment to action
Right.
and compassion.
It's one thing to talk about helping people,
Yeah,
but it's another to actually do it,
absolutely.
especially during a terrifying plague.
Exactly. And then there was his advocacy against the 3-pound poll tax imposed on indentured Indians.
Right.
This was another example of Gandhi challenging unjust laws and standing up for those who were being exploited.
It seems like he was constantly looking for ways to fight injustice, no matter where he was.
Yeah.
But how did these early efforts lead to the larger movements
Okay.
that he's known for?
Well, these smaller campaigns were like testing grounds for his philosophy of satyagraha,
Mm-hmm.
which is based on truth, nonviolence, and self-suffering.
Right, and it's in movements like the Champaran and Keta Satyagrahas
Yes.
that we really see Satyagraha in action.
Absolutely. These were campaigns focused on farmers' rights,
Mm-hmm.
the indigo farmers of Champaran,
Right.
and the peasants of Kedah in both cases.
Okay.
Gandhi used strategic disobedience
Mm-hmm.
and legal loopholes to expose the injustices
Mm-hmm.
faced by these communities.
It's amazing how he could turn the legal system on its head and use it as a tool for resistance.
He had a knack for finding creative ways to challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
There's that incredible story about the onion thief incident in Kedah,
Oh, yeah.
where removing onions was considered theft under the law.
Wow.
Gandhi encouraged people to deliberately remove onions,
Mhm.
knowing that they'd be arrested.
Wow.
It was a brilliant tactic.
I love that.
Yeah.
That highlighted the absurdity of the lawyers,
Hmm.
oppressing the peasantry.
Yes, by getting arrested.
Yeah.
He was making a powerful statement
Mm-hmm.
and drawing attention to the injustice of the situation.
And those early victories
Yeah.
must have given people a sense of their own power.
Right.
Like they saw that nonviolent resistance could actually work.
Absolutely. These were crucial stepping stones.
Yeah.
toward the larger movement for India's independence.
Okay.
And one of the most pivotal moments in that struggle
Wow.
was the non-cooperation movement.
Right, the movement where he urged Indians to boycott British institutions.
Yeah.
Schools, courts, even prestigious titles.
Hmm.
It was a radical call for peaceful resistance.
It was, essentially saying no to the systems that perpetuated their subjugation.
Mm.
Imagine having the courage to make such sacrifices,
Yeah.
to reject the institutions that, for many, represented power and success.
That would take incredible conviction.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I would have had the courage to do something like that.
It's a question we can all ask ourselves.
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line?
Mm.
What are we willing to sacrifice for what we believe in?
And that leads us to one of the most iconic moments in Gandhi's life, the Salt March.
Yes.
Thousands of people marching to the sea to make their own salt, defying the British monopoly.
It's such a powerful image.
An incredible image.
It was a masterstroke, both symbolically and strategically. Choosing salt, this basic necessity,
Right.
as the focus of the protest was brilliant.
It was.
It highlighted the absurdity of the British salt tax and connected with people on a very visceral level.
Right, but it wasn't just about the symbolic act of making salt.
No, it had real economic consequences for the British.
Right.
The boycott of British salt hit them where it hurt, their wallets.
I could see how that would have amplified the movement's message.
Right, and Gandhi was a master of using the media to his advantage.
Yeah.
The images of those peaceful marchers being beaten by British police were broadcast around the world,
Wow.
turning global public opinion against the British Raj.
So the Salt March wasn't just about salt. It was about sending a powerful message of resistance that resonated far beyond India's borders.
Precisely, and it was a testament to the power of nonviolent, direct action to challenge even the most powerful empires.
It's incredible how this one man,
I know.
walking with a staff and wearing a simple dhoti, could have such a profound impact.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning of his story.
It is.
We'll explore Gandhi's global legacy and his enduring relevance.
After. Good. Yeah. So Gandhi's impact went far beyond the Salt March and India's independence.
Yeah.
What's truly remarkable is how his philosophy of satyagraha, this blend of truth, nonviolence, and self-suffering,
Right.
resonated with people around the globe.
It's amazing to think of those ripples spreading outward.
Yeah.
But before we explore that global impact,
Okay.
I'm curious about satyagraha itself.
Okay.
It's more than just a tactic.
It is.
It's a whole way of life.
Absolutely. It wasn't just about protests and marches. It was about aligning your every action,
Wow.
your every thought with truth and nonviolence.
So how did that play out in Gandhi's own life?
Okay.
What did satyagraha look like on a daily basis?
Well, for Gandhi, truth was paramount. Even in his professional life as a lawyer,
Interesting.
he refused to twist facts or coach witnesses,
Wow.
even if it meant losing cases.
Wow.
Imagine a lawyer prioritizing ethical principles.
Above winning.
That's a pretty radical concept even today.
It is.
It sounds like he was willing to put his principles before his own success.
Exactly. There's this fascinating story from his autobiography
Oh.
about a client who was caught smuggling.
Wow.
Gandhi actually convinced the client to confess, even though it meant a harsher penalty.
Oh my gosh.
He believed that facing the consequences of your actions, no matter how difficult,
Yeah.
was essential for personal growth and moral integrity.
That takes a lot of courage,
It does.
both for Gandhi and his client.
Yeah.
But it really shows how deeply he believed in truth and accountability.
For Gandhi, living a truthful life wasn't just about big gestures. It was about those everyday choices, those moments where you're tempted to take the easy way out.
Right.
He believed that those choices shaped your character and ultimately the kind of world you create.
It's like that saying, integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching.
Exactly. And for Gandhi, that commitment to truth was inseparable from his pursuit of self-restraint,
Okay.
which he called brahmacharya.
And brahmacharya is often associated with celibacy, but I understand it's a much broader concept.
You're right. It's about controlling your desires, channeling that energy toward higher pursuits.
Good.
Gandhi believed that by mastering your impulses, you could strengthen your willpower and focus on the needs of others.
So it's about self-discipline but also about using that discipline for service.
Precisely. And for Gandhi, Brahmacharya wasn't just some abstract idea, it was a lived practice. He experimented with diet, fasting, and simple living.
Wow.
Not just for health, but as a form of spiritual training.
It sounds like he was trying to push his own limits to see what he was capable of enduring.
Yes, but it wasn't about deprivation for its own sake. It was about cultivating a deeper connection to his values and a sense of detachment from material possessions.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what aspects of modern life would we be willing to simplify? What could we let go of to create more space for inner growth and purpose?
Right.
I mean, it's easy to get caught up in the constant pursuit of more stuff, more experiences, more everything.
It's a question worth pondering.
It is.
What if we shifted our focus from acquiring to simplifying? What if we embrace self-restraint not as a form of punishment, but as a path to freedom?
It's a radical idea, but it's also incredibly compelling. Gandhi's life was a constant experiment, a testament to the power of pushing beyond our comfort zones.
And he wasn't afraid to talk about his struggles in his autobiography. He was very honest about his own shortcomings, the times he fell short of his ideals. He acknowledged that even he, this icon of self-discipline, was human.
That's actually quite refreshing. It makes him seem more relatable, more human. It's not about achieving some kind of perfect state of being, but about the continuous effort to live a more truthful and compassionate life.
Exactly. And that's a message that resonates across time and cultures.
And speaking of cultures, Gandhi's impact wasn't limited to India. His ideas about nonviolent resistance and the interconnectedness of humanity traveled far beyond its borders.
His writings were translated into countless languages.
Wow.
Inspiring activists and reformers globally.
That's amazing.
Imagine this man in his simple dhoti, shaking the foundations of empires and influencing movements all over the world.
It's truly remarkable.
It is.
So besides Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela, who else drew inspiration from Gandhi's example?
Oh, the list is long and diverse.
Wow.
Civil rights activists in the United States, like James Lawson and Bayard Rustin, studied Gandhi's tactics and adapted them to the struggle for racial equality.
So Gandhi's teachings were literally shaping the strategies of these movements. It's incredible how his ideas crossed continents and oceans.
And it wasn't just limited to racial justice.
Oh, wow.
Anti-war activists, environmentalists, labor organizers all found inspiration in Gandhi's philosophy of non-cooperation, civil disobedience, and the power of collective action.
It's like his philosophy provided a toolkit for social change. A set of principles and practices that could be applied to a wide range of contexts.
You put it perfectly. It shows that Gandhi's ideas weren't just relevant to the specific context of India's independence struggle. They offer a timeless framework for understanding and addressing injustice.
Okay, so we've seen how his ideas spread globally. But how can we apply those teachings to today's world? I mean, we're facing huge, complex challenges. Climate change, political polarization, economic inequality. Does Gandhi's philosophy really hold?
I think it's more relevant than ever.
Wow.
His emphasis on truth and nonviolence can be powerful antidotes to the forces of division and hatred that seem to be escalating around the world.
But how do you practice nonviolence when you're dealing with, say, a multinational corporation that's destroying the environment, or a government enacting unjust laws? It can feel like those in power are operating by a completely different set of rules.
Gandhi's approach wasn't just about passive resistance.
No.
He believed in the power of individual self-transformation, collective action, and what he called constructive work.
Constructive work. I don't think we've talked about that yet. What does that mean exactly?
It's about building alternative systems and institutions that embody your values. It's not just about dismantling the old, but creating something new, something better.
So it's about being proactive, about taking action to create the kind of world you want to see.
Exactly. And that might look like supporting sustainable businesses, advocating for policy changes, engaging in dialogue with those who hold different viewpoints, or simply practicing nonviolence in our own personal relationships.
Gandhi talked a lot about self-restraint,
Yeah.
even advocating for giving up certain foods. How does that fit in with these big global challenges we're facing?
It's an interesting connection, isn't it?
It is.
On the surface, it might seem like a stretch,
Yeah.
but Gandhi saw self-restraint, whether in diet or lifestyle, as a way to cultivate a sense of interconnectedness with all beings.
Interesting.
He believed that by consuming less and simplifying our lives, we could reduce our impact on the planet and cultivate a deeper sense of compassion.
So it's about recognizing our interconnectedness, recognizing that our choices have consequences for others and the planet.
Precisely. It's about moving away from that constant need for more and recognizing that true happiness comes from connection, purpose, and service.
It's a pretty radical shift in perspective. But I think it's one that's desperately needed in our world today.
Absolutely. And it's a shift that starts with each of us, with the choices we make every day.
Gandhi also emphasized the importance of truth.
Yes.
And in today's world where we're bombarded with misinformation propaganda, it can be hard to know what to believe.
It is.
How can we apply his teachings on truth in this kind of environment?
That's a crucial question. Gandhi believed that truth wasn't something you passively received. It was something you actively sought, something you might even have to suffer for.
Wow.
He believed that true understanding required questioning, challenging assumptions, and being willing to change your mind.
So it's about being discerning, about not just accepting everything we're told, but being critical thinkers, questioning, verifying information.
Yes. And it's also about having the courage to speak up against falsehoods. Even when it's uncomfortable or puts us at risk, it's about being truth tellers, even when it's hard.
That takes a lot of courage.
It does.
Especially in a world where speaking truth to power can have serious consequences.
It does, but Gandhi's life reminds us that silence in the face of injustice is complicity.
Wow. Okay, so we've talked about nonviolence, self-restraint, truth, and constructive work.
Okay.
What else can we learn from Gandhi's approach to social change?
Well, I think one of the most important lessons is that change doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, a journey that requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to keep learning and growing.
It's about taking those small steps, one at a time, and trusting that they will eventually lead to something bigger.
Exactly. And it's about remembering that we're all in this together. Change doesn't happen in isolation. It happens through collaboration, through building relationships, and through a shared commitment to a better future.
It's about remembering that we're part of a larger movement, a movement that spans generations and continents.
Precisely, and that movement is powered by the belief that a better world is possible, a world where justice, compassion, and truth prevail.
This has been such a rich and thought-provoking conversation. Gandhi's life and teachings offer so much wisdom for navigating the complexities of our modern world.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
It has.
And as we move into the final part of our deep dive, I think it's important to hold on to that sense of hope and possibility. We may not all be Gandhis. But we can all choose to embody his values, to live more truthful, more compassionate lives, and in doing so, contribute to a more just and peaceful world.
I agree. It's incredible how Gandhi's ideas continue to resonate, even in the face of today's challenges.
They really do.
You know, thinking about his life, it seems like there were so many defining moments, so many events that shaped his philosophy. But I'm curious, was there a particular experience that really crystallized his commitment to truth and nonviolence?
There's one story that stands out. It happened in South Africa during his early days as a lawyer. Gandhi was on a train to Pretoria for a legal case. He was dressed in traditional Indian attire and had a first-class ticket. But a railway official ordered him to move to the third-class compartment simply because of his race.
Knowing what we do about the discrimination he faced in South Africa, I can only imagine how infuriating it was that must have been.
A blatant act of racism. And Gandhi refused to move. He knew he had a legal right to be there, but the official was insistent. And eventually, Gandhi was forcibly removed from the train.
Oh, my God.
And left stranded on a platform
Wow.
in the middle of the night.
That's awful, to be humiliated and treated so unjustly just for trying to ride a train.
It was a pivotal moment for Gandhi.
Yeah.
He could have reacted with anger or violence, which would have been understandable, given the circumstances.
Of course.
But instead, he chose a different path.
So how did he respond?
He decided to stay in South Africa and fight for the rights of Indians.
Wow.
That experience solidified his belief in the power of nonviolent resistance.
It's amazing.
He saw that responding to hate with hate would only perpetuate the cycle of violence.
Right.
He knew there had to be a better way.
It's amazing how he turned that experience of oppression into a catalyst for change.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, the obstacle's the path.
Exactly. Gandhi's response to that incident really encapsulates his philosophy. He didn't just preach nonviolence, he lived it.
Right.
Even when faced with blatant injustice.
That story really highlights the incredible strength and resilience of the human spirit.
Yeah.
But how can we apply that lesson to our own lives?
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're not all facing the same kind of systemic oppression that Gandhi faced.
You're right. Not all of us will face those same challenges, but we all encounter injustice in different forms, whether it's in our personal relationships, our workplaces, or on a larger societal scale.
So what does it mean to practice nonviolence in those everyday situations?
It's about choosing to respond to anger, frustration, or even hatred with understanding and compassion.
Okay.
It's about seeking solutions that benefit all parties involved, not just ourselves.
Right.
It's about recognizing our shared humanity, even when it's difficult.
It sounds like it requires a conscious effort to shift our perspective, to step back from our own immediate reactions and try to see the situation from a different angle.
Exactly. It's about choosing to respond with love instead of fear, with courage instead of anger.
Yeah.
It's about remembering that even small acts of kindness and understanding can have a ripple effect.
It's about creating a more peaceful and just one interaction at a time.
Precisely. And Gandhi's life reminds us that it's possible. It's not always easy, but it's a choice we can all make.
This deep dive has been such a powerful reminder
of
the impact one person can have. Gandhi's legacy continues to inspire people around the world to fight for justice and equality. His message of truth, love, and nonviolence is as relevant today as it was a century ago.
It's been an honor to explore his life and teachings with you.
Likewise.
And as we conclude this deep dive, I hope you'll walk away feeling empowered to embody Gandhi's values in your own life, to be the change you wish to see in the world.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. And remember, even the smallest acts of courage and compassion can make a difference.
They can.
Keep seeking truth. Keep spreading love.
Yes.
And never underestimate the power of your own voice.
Absolutely.